Hi, so I realized that I've been making these videos and I haven't told you guys my full story. So I wanted to use this video to be able to kind of go through my concussion history, which I have a handy dandy note card reminder of. And that way you all can understand more about me and why I'm so passionate about spreading awareness about concussion. So my first concussion was when I was in fifth grade, probably the end of 2009, and I was in gym class and we were playing wiffle ball, and a kid was going to catch the same ball as me, but he was a lot bigger than I was and ended up tackling me. I don't remember much, but I remember waking up and I was flat on my back, and my entire class was standing around me and wondering what had happened. Since then, sorry. Since then, I had headaches every day. I went to a neurologist after seeing so many different types of doctors, and he wanted to do an MRI just to make sure I didn't have a brain tumor because concussion symptoms and symptoms of a brain tumor line up because brain and all. Um, and when we found out that I didn't have a brain tumor, he put me on Topamax and told me that it was hormonal, it would go away when I was done puberty. Well, in seventh grade, the beginning of seventh grade, um, I was in gym class. This is 2011. And so I'm in gym class again, and I was tackled by a boy much larger than me. And again, I woke up flat on my back. And I told my gym teacher that I had just hurt my elbow and that I was fine because I had a soccer game later that day and I really wanted to play in that game. But unfortunately, in that game, I was slide tackled and smashed the back of my head. And immediately, I knew something was wrong. And my coaches knew something was wrong. But they believed me when I said that I was fine, that I was just tired. And they told me that I wasn't like that before practice or, the game. And I didn't really have an answer for them, but I kind of played it off. But I had like really bad headaches. I was really nauseous, and I didn't really know why I was feeling the things I was feeling. So I just figured that I was tired and needed a good night's sleep. Um, and then in seventh grade gym class, we would play floor hockey, and I ended up being tackled by my gym teacher, I think, and I hit my head on the ground. But I don't remember any of that. Again, I was knocked out, and when I came to, I was so confused. I didn't know where I was, what we were doing, who anyone in my class was. So my teacher sent me to the nurse, and then she sent me immediately to the doctor who diagnosed me with a concussion. That's the first time I'd ever heard concussion used not to describe a professional football player. And I didn't really know that a concussion was a brain injury until this. And even then, I didn't understand the seriousness of concussion or the consequences that could come for not taking it seriously. So I took 3 weeks off of soccer and barely any time off of school before returning to play while still symptomatic. And then later that season, in a club game, I ended up being elbowed in the head. There's a loose ball in the box, and I was trying to get it to score. And to stop me from scoring, some girl on the other team took her elbow and went like that right into my head. And I was really confused. I walked to the wrong sideline, forgot that we had halftime, not the end of the game. And it was just really weird. And then I was so lethargic the rest of the game. And it was not a good game, but nothing came of that. I think I went and laid in the dark room afterwards for a while. But other than that, there was no further action taken. In the fall season, so this is 2012, I was in one of my last outdoor games for the fall, and I was tripped and I smashed my head on a girl's knee, and I was pulled from the game because I couldn't really stand up because my balance was so bad, and I couldn't stop crying, but I couldn't explain why I was crying, and my coach is really worried and my teammates are pretty worried, but my mom just kind of said that I was being dramatic and she just brushed it off. So that's what I did. Now, my sixth concussion, which was in 8th grade, was a very, very severe concussion. This was December of 2012. And I was at soccer practice, but I don't remember any of this. I don't remember the 24 hours in which this happened. So it's all very, very confusing for me. So from what I've been told, I was at practice and we were indoors because we were avoiding the cold northeast winter. And at the end of practice, I was going for a ball, and my teammate, during a scrimmage, she was on the opposing team. She was gonna score. I chased her back, but we got our feet tripped up, and one side of my head hit the brick wall that was in the gym, and then I was unconscious before I hit the ground, and then I hit the ground head first too, and immediately everyone knew something was wrong because I couldn't tolerate light. I was throwing up. I was hallucinating. I felt like I was in a tunnel, was what they said that I was saying, that nothing seemed real. And my mom took me I ended up going to school the next day. And the next thing I remember singing school the day before, and then I remember singing school the day after. And one of my friends looked at me and goes, "Claire, why are you here? You have another concussion. You should be at home resting." And I knew I had a concussion, but I wasn't ready to start taking it seriously. But a few days later, I went to the doctor and he said that I had symptoms of a brain bleed, and this was incredibly serious. I ended up missing 10 months of soccer, 3 months of school, yet still lied and returned to play while symptomatic after those 10 months. And then later in that school year, in 9th grade, at the end of the club season, that fall, after I went back to soccer after the concussion in 8th grade, I was hit just straight on. I collided with a girl, and I just totally blacked out. Like, I couldn't see anything. I was laying on the ground, and I could hear people, but it was, like, all very, like, echoey, and I couldn't see anything. Yet when I stood up, the ref questioned me if I had any concussion symptoms. I lied and said no, and then my coach pulled me because he knew I was having symptoms. And then again, no further action was taken. And then in 10th grade, I played for my school varsity team as well as my club team. And concussions 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 were all from heading the ball or except for 12. 12 I got blindsided. That was like a tackle, but concussions 8 through 11 were from heading the ball or from colliding with someone from heading the ball. And that was really scary for me because at that point I knew my career was ending, especially concussion 11 where the ball just kind of brushed the side of my head and everything turned a different color and I was dizzy, confused, nauseous, and I knew that, you know, if such a small force could hurt me, that my brain was pretty injured and that I needed to see someone. But I didn't listen to my head, I didn't listen to my body, and I did not take my own advice, and I kept playing. So even the day after I got my 11th concussion, I got my 12th concussion the next day in that game where I got blindsided. Some girl just came and hit me, flung me forward, and I was briefly unconscious, but came to before it was noticeable, and I finished the game. But unfortunately, during the game, I couldn't see like single vision. I had double vision. So there was a loose ball in the box, and I go to volley it, but I thought the goalie's head was the ball, so I ended up nailing their goalie in the head and concussing her as well. So I was definitely more of a danger than an asset. And someone should have got me off the field at that point, but unfortunately, nobody did. Um, Even after that soccer season, I went and I played my club indoor winter season. Um, and during that season, I got concussions 13 and 14 from getting kneed or getting kicked and stuff like that in the head. And then the summer of 2015, I was knocked out while at camp playing some team handball, of all things. And that concussion set me out of school for a year. I don't think that concussion alone could have done that, but with everything that happened in 10th grade, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I just couldn't function. I went to school for 2 weeks, half days, and it was just not working out, and I was not doing well. And at that point, my doctors decided that I should take the year off from school. I tried to do some light cognitive work in the winter, but that year of school was not non-existent. So I had to transfer schools and defer my junior year. And going into junior year at my new school, I banged heads with one of my friends while just sitting on the couch, and I was really dizzy and confused, and I was immediately sent to the nurse, who then sent me home right away. And I went and I saw my concussion doctor, and she said that I should miss the week of school and that this was probably pretty mild, but we had to take the utmost precautions. But then the rest of 11th grade was pretty uneventful. That was in September, and I didn't get another concussion until the very end of April while at my friend's house, and we were messing around playing floor hockey, and I ended up laying on the ground unconscious for over 5 minutes while my friends were checking my pulse to make sure I was still alive and still breathing and all of that. And apparently I was tackled by one of my guy friends who was a lot bigger than me. And so I missed the rest of the school year for that one, didn't take finals. And then in the summer going into my senior year, I was going to get my running shoes out of the cabinet in my kitchen. So it's like this like little like crate, like wooden box built into our wall, and it has like this door over top, and I lifted it up to go get my shoes, but it fell and smashed me on the head. And I didn't really feel anything at the time, but then I drove to cross country practice and couldn't run in a straight line. I was seeing double everywhere and like couldn't put together a sentence. And at that point, we knew something was wrong. So I called my doctor, and he said that it was probably a more mild concussion, but I should take a few days and not do anything and just rest, and then try to like ease back into a normal lifestyle. And then my 19th concussion, I was in London, or I had just gotten back from London, but I was really jet lagged, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was really confused as to what direction I was supposed to be in my bed, and I ended up trying to roll over, but I fell out of bed and smashed my head on my bedside table, which is definitely the stupidest thing I could ever do. But I woke up in the morning, and there was a giant like bump and bruise on my head, and my mom totally freaked out. She was like, "What did you do? Like, you even managed to hurt yourself in your sleep." And even though it was pretty comical, it was not good, and definitely set me back pretty far. And then most recently, I took a knee to the head while coaching youth track. I worked with a boy who had autism, and he tried to jump over me. And when he went to jump over me, his knee went into my temple. And again, I knew that there was a problem within a few minutes of that. So now I'm back in all the therapies, vestibular, vision. I see a psychologist. I am on a bunch of different medications. Currently, I'm on Zoloft. And we're weaning me off of Wellbutrin so we can put me on either Adderall or Vyvanse. I have a bunch of different issues that will probably not resolve, such as some of the ADHD issues, vision issues. I have too much carbon dioxide building in my body, which is causing swelling in my brain. And I also have cell death in my eyes, which causes floaters. But there is some hope that I will be able to improve. I probably will never be symptom free, but at this point, even though I know this concussion history pretty well, and I've told this story so many times, I can't ever help but think that I'm so lucky to be alive, because so many people, have had second impact syndrome over the years, and I have no explanation as to why I didn't get it, because I feel like I kept narrowly escaping something that could have been fatal. And then in terms of medication, I have a list of those too. And so I was going to read off some of my medication, and maybe some of you have been on some of these. But also in case you were curious. So I started off with Topamax, then we went to amitriptyline, metoprolol, nortriptyline, indomethacin. I had 3 rounds of Botox. I had a nerve block with a steroid, Zofran, Reglan, Fioricet, vilazodone, trazodone, methylprednisone, cyproheptadine, carvedilol, Ambien, amantadine, Ativan, fluticasone, rizatriptan, IV Toradol, Reglan, and IV DHE, IV magnesium, IV Zofran, and that was in the ER in the hospital when I would have to go for very, very severe headaches. And then currently, like I said, I was on Zoloft, and then we're weaning off of Wellbutrin and trying to ease on to Vyvanse or Adderall. We're not sure which one going to use yet. And I also have a rescue migraine med, zolmitriptan, and it worked really well at first, but now I think I've built a tolerance, so it hasn't been working as well. And just as a parting note, be really